September 27, 2014. An 18-year-old walks through his front door. The house is silent. Too silent. He calls out. Nothing. Down the hall, he finds his parents in their bedroom, completely still. His 14-year-old brother, lifeless. His 12-year-old sister, gone. His youngest brother, just 11, no breath left. 5 family members, all dead within hours. But here's what investigators couldn't understand. Hours before this teenager found them, his younger brother left a message. Not long ago, I could be gone by now. Take everything if you want. He knew. They all knew something was coming. So why didn't anyone run? Why didn't they scream for help? The answer is more terrifying than the murders themselves. Because the real killer wasn't a stranger. It was something that had been living inside those walls all along, that a quiet town hugged by mountains held their home. 37-year-old Benjamin played the part of a provider, doing what fathers do. Life looked steady on the surface for him and Christy, who turned 36 last spring. For kids filled their house with noise and motion. To most people walking past, nothing felt out of place. Quiet folks, that is how the neighbors saw them. Danger never seemed part of their story. Inside those walls, though, something dark took shape slowly. For kids filled the house with presence. Jansen McGee came first, 18, living under the same roof yet carrying another name from an earlier time. After him, others followed. Benson at 14, Emery just 12, Zion only 11. At first glance, a regular U.S. family dealing with everyday struggles. Yet underneath, things were breaking down. Christy Strack had become fixated on no star, on no preacher. Yet everything changed when she met Dan Lafferty, a man already locked up for murder. He was behind bars, sentenced to 2 lifetimes for an act so violent it shook Utah to its core. Back in 1984, he and his brother took the lives of Brenda Lafferty, his own sister-in-law, and her baby girl, just over a year old. They were killed in a violent act, justified by twisted beliefs tied to faith. People still talk about how dark that moment was. It even inspired a well-known book and show called Under the Banner of Heaven. Then came Christy Strack, who found herself drawn to him, despite all of it. Letters started flowing from Christy to Dan Lafferty behind bars, not because she studied him in silence. A convicted killer, someone who took a woman's life and ended her baby's existence without hesitation, became the center of her attention. Her words painted him as misunderstood rather than monstrous. Instead of recoiling, she built up his beliefs like sacred truths. Over time, those pages twisted how she saw everything around her. Reality bent under the weight of fixation. Began to see things her way. Benjamin, the man she married, had known about the notes all along. A prisoner's words reached their home, yet he did not question it. Slowly, without force, his thoughts bent toward hers. Side by side, they whispered that darkness ruled every corner. Rules twisted truth so people could not trust anything. Soon, everything would collapse, they were certain. Off the grid was where they wanted to be, far from towns and rules, someplace hidden from what they saw as the coming fall of everything. People around them figured it for chatter. Odd notions, overblown worries. Still, nobody labeled the Stracks as threats. Nobody imagined Benjamin or Christy turning on their own kids. That assumption cracked wide open by September 2014 when choices hardened into plans. It wasn't about waiting for the end. Running off into forests never crossed their minds. A different path took hold, one with no return. Their kids would leave too, pulled away before it got worse. What worked best, they thought, was harmful medication. Strong substances mixed together, prescription painkillers and over-the-counter medicine. Their idea? Give these to the 3 little ones first, then take the same substances themselves. Fall settled in on September 27, 2014. The moment arrived without warning. Jansen McGee, the eldest boy, wasn't around when things unfolded. Life pulled him elsewhere that afternoon, just another 18-year-old caught in ordinary routines. His mother and father moved quietly behind closed doors, shaping choices they did not yet understand the weight of. That night in Springville, the house held a quiet that came after choices. Benjamin and Christy gave harmful substances to their kids instead of dinner. Benson had turned 14 not long before. Emery still counted birthdays on 2 hands. Zion trailed behind them both, small for his age. Pills were distributed, measured, prepared, consumed. What weighs heavier is how aware they were. Benson looked up once, voice low, asked if it would hurt much. Picture this. A scrap of paper turned up after the fact, penned by him to someone close. On it, Benson mentioned he might not survive. Left his things behind for that friend to take. Pause right there. This boy, just 14, knew what they intended. Put pen to paper like a quiet farewell. Could he have fought back? Maybe pleaded for it to end? That stays hidden. One thing stands clear: he went along with it. Fear might have gripped him, or lies pulled him in, or something warped tied to duty toward blood. The kids took what Mom and Dad distributed. Once the little ones were gone, Benjamin and Christy followed by consuming the same substances. 5 people lost their lives, bodies stretched out inside the old house. Not a single one opened their eyes again. Home was quiet when Jansen McGee walked in. Think about turning 18. Picture stepping through your front door like any other afternoon, then seeing your mother and father on the floor, not moving. Next, your younger brother, 14, lying still. Then your sister, just 12, silent too. Another brother, 1 year younger than her, also lifeless. Everyone all at once. Nothing left but silence. He reached for the phone, dialed slowly. Sirens broke the evening air as help arrived fast. Nothing changed their situation. Already, the Strack family had disappeared. Right after, detectives started looking into it. Evidence became the focus of their search at the house. Letters from Christy to Dan Lafferty turned up during the process. Beliefs about the end of the world were spelled out in those pages. Inside the house, traces of harmful substances showed up, lethal amounts discovered. Following that, officers came across a scribbled piece of paper signed by Benson. A young voice, calm yet aware, speaking from the edge. Lab results later proved each person succumbed to overwhelming doses. Found inside the kids' systems, prescription opioids along with antihistamine medication, commonly available over the counter. Their parents? Same substances running through them too. A judge called it murder followed by suicide. Not long after, Benjamin ended his kids' lives, Christy did too. Then they turned these actions on themselves. Law enforcement stopped looking. Paperwork marked complete. Still, people kept asking. A mom who once bathed toddlers, kissed scraped knees. What snapped inside her head? When did love twist into something sharp enough to cut through family bones? Her husband stood near. He watched, never stepped in. Wreckage everywhere. Alone now, Jansen McGee stood as the only one still breathing from his bloodline. Carrying it every day, the truth that Mom and Dad gave lethal substances to the others instead of shielding them. The weight never lifted, that love turned into something toxic, meant to keep kids safe but ended their lives. Folks in Springville stood frozen, hearts heavy with disbelief. Quiet streets once filled with routine now echoed questions without answers. One moment normalcy, the next confusion tangled with sorrow. Psychologists stepped forward, not with solutions but observations about group fear and visions of doom. When people pull away from others, strange ideas sometimes grow louder. Still, none of it adds up to why the Stracks acted as they did. Understanding slips through every attempt to hold it. On September 27, 2014, something ended in silence. Proof comes straight from official records, autopsy results, law enforcement files, articles written at the time. Nothing added, nothing imagined. What took place unfolded exactly as those papers show. The people involved were not outsiders. Familiar faces turned into names on a report. This case stays fixed in memory because harm often wears a known expression. Out of nowhere, it can start where safety should be strongest, inside a house. It came from those meant to care the most. 3 kids, Benson, Emery, Zion. Each had years stretching forward, full of paths not yet taken. Yet someone stepped in and erased everything. Here lies how things unfolded. Memory holds weight. What occurred cannot slip into silence.